This is a member of WildGamesCrashers.com and D20Radio.com.
They came from the game table, dice bags in hand.
We have one brain that we share between us.
To talk about role-playing for all across the land.
And you'll like it.
The original, then basic, then what they scoured.
Kinda grabs you by the boo-boo, don't it?
To bring AD&D to the second power.
You want me to put the hammer down?
Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best damn AD&D second edition podcast ever.
Before you discovered the wonders of alcohol.
Thanks for the enlightenment, Corey. Hi, folks. THACO's Hammer, Splatbook 79. We're here again. DM Glen, of course, right there at the helm, taking all the brickbats. And we've got DM Corey.
What's going on, folks? Happy New Year and welcome back to THACO's Hammer. We made it and our livers are still kicking.
His is, anyway. DM Brian is here, too.
Yep, we are back once again. Now begins year number 3. So
we ought to do
be ready.
Is this really 3 years?
Yeah,
I've known
we started in
guys?
2011, yes.
I got to start a fight with one of you.
Oh. Should we do an anniversary show? I don't want to do an anniversary.
Oh, God.
Well,
you forgot the anniversary show. Curses upon you. No Amazon for you.
I don't do anniversary shows. Vince, for a long time on Saber Dad, tried to get me to do an anniversary shows. No, don't want to do it. No. Mm-mm.
Why? If I may ask.
It's too much having to go through files and finding stuff and.
Oh, yeah, the this is your life kind of thing. Got it.
That's what interns are for.
You just have shows that celebrate the benchmarks and the milestones, like, we've been here a year, yay! Exactly. Hey, we've hit 100, yay!
But they want me to do, like, the best of the last year or two, or it's like,
oh, they want you to go through 12, 13, or 52 episodes going, hey, pull out the funny stuff. Yeah, go GFYS, man, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is...
I'll let you figure out that acronym there.
In the 3 years we've done this show, we haven't done 52 episodes in a year.
By the way,
yeah, we haven't, but you know what? We sound good when we do the news show. So
that's right.
By the way, folks, we also have DM Full on Gamer here. Thank you.
Greetings, Gamer Nation. Welcome to 2014. We're on, and we're having fun. Come join us.
What's going on, folks?
Get him off the Ritalin, will you? And special guest star tonight, we have the man, the legend, DM Kojo.
Yeah, forget voicemails. I'm joining the party.
Our fifth Beatle is here, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
Murray the K of THACO's Hammer, and nobody's going to get that except the older gamers.
Oh, that's right.
See?
Bad Mike would be Pete Best.
Yeah. You give me crap about not calling in for a couple shows. I'm just going to come in live.
Hey.
Yeah, and so we're going to...
So you handle it.
Yep.
That's right. Let's shove off to hits and crits.
What are you doing tonight? I don't know. What are you doing tonight? The burlesque, Louie's Paradise, miserable and lonely and stupid. What am I, crazy or something? I got something good here. What am I hanging around with you guys for?
Hits and crits.
Shove off to hits and crits. Here we are. What'd you do this week, Kojo? In gaming and all.
Yeah, this weekend we played Dungeon Crawl Classics RPG. We've switched to that for the last few months. My group's really enjoying it. We played an adventure called Frozen in Time.
I've heard that's a very good one.
Written by Michael Curtis. It's quite good. Reminiscent of Barrier Peaks.
Ah,
nice.
Okay. I'll have to tell our friends over at our sister podcast, Spellburn, about that. See if I can talk to Jim Wampler into letting you on there and have him be a guest on there.
Well, you know, they don't do voicemails. They only do emails, probably for fear of my calls, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I had
for
to
fear
deal
of
with
you
the podcast.
bombarding them.
Well, once they figure out that you actually know that they only do emails, I'm sure that'll stop too. Well, forget that. He knows how to do emails. Forget that. We're not letting him do that.
How do you think I sent in all my stuff for D20 Radio for OSR? I mean, for Order 66 podcast? It was emails. You just record your stuff on Audacity and send it to them as an attachment.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
Yep.
And Gamer Nation, you can do that to us as well.
Yeah.
And you were so good at it, Fawn, they made you a permanent part of the podcast.
Yeah, no more
Until
no more
he came over
emails
here.
from no more emails from Kojo on Spellburn. The monkey learned how to type. Okay. Full on, what you been doing?
Oh, been enjoying the last bit of the half-day schedules before going back to full-time work for us'ns, and I've been being spiritually there with all you snowbound and frozen-in Northeasterners with doing a little bit more of the Old Republic, doing another character's run through Hoth. So I'm there with you.
Ooh.
Plus, it's like 18 degrees here, so yeah, we got cold too.
Your 50th.
I just got cold and dry.
Your 50th character or server?
They keep having to replace them. Oh no, it's him again.
Yeah.
I've only got like 15 on one server so far.
Wow.
Okay.
3 of those are my wife's.
How about you, Brian? What's up?
Oh, just been messing around with Marvel Heroes. I've been playing for, God, what 3 weeks? Close to a month, maybe. I've got basically 4 characters in game, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. Been working on our campaign world and still figuring out if I'm going. I have a whole in talking about the Hammers of Dutchy podcast, of course, but I have a whole plan out of the adventures you guys might be going on or it will be going on. It all depends on, the strength of the locomotive pulling the train. But yeah, I mean, I've been working on that and working on the campaign world in general. Also, Corey and I, a couple weeks ago, we were putting together some ideas for, my campaign world as far as deities are concerned. And
We were?
Yeah, we were. And
I must have been drinking.
actually, you were stone cold sober that night. That's the problem. And I'll be also employing the services of All Dragon, or as I like to call him, Falon's younger brother. Because sounds like him. We need to just get him on. You need to get him on this show. And actually, Kojo gave us a good idea, and it might actually work. Since at some point we're going to have to cover Spelljammer.
Do we have to?
Yeah, we do. Hey, we had to do Dark Sun, and we're still getting crap for that. But
I've only been asking for 40 Splat books. Come on now.
The man
That's
has a point.
all?
So, yeah. So you get to help us, and apparently from what Kojo told me, both he and All Dragon are really into Spelljammer, so
if you're listening, All Dragon, you have an open invitation to join us like Kojo has done tonight and help us talk about and share the experiences of Spelljammer.
Drink your own.
In the meantime, he's just going to have to make do with trying to see how many callbacks he can throw into tonight's podcast about Thrycreen and GIF and Illithids and Nautiloids and every other fun thing.
And remember, Old Dragon, bring your own KY. Anyway.
Whoa.
But. Oh,
easy, Glenn. We're trying to avoid the explicit tag, remember?
Yeah.
Why? That's no fun.
It's
true. It's true.
Our overlord says not to get explicit.
It's a little late for that. In so many ways, it's a little late for that.
Corey, what you been up to?
Yeah, go.
Sorry, was that to me? I'm sorry.
To you.
So I had my drink up. Sorry. I've been actually playing D&D. Believe it or not, the guy pulled through, and I got a DM now, and I'm actually on the other side of the DM screen, and I hate it. I have no power. You have no power here. It was terrible.
Did you just go David Lopan on us?
No, I went Saruman possessing the king in...
Oh, that's right. You have. Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, yeah, I'm playing a female psionic psionicist, elven psionicist, because F the rules. And it's pretty awesome that everybody comes to me to be like party leader. And I don't want to be party leader. I just want to play. And everybody's like, yeah, but you're our usual DM and you're smarter than us, so you go be your party leader. So, they send the Dwarven Battle Rager into the general's tent where the paladins are discussing the maps over the table, and they expect good diplomacy to happen. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go in and clean up the mess that the Battle Rager has started. This is not the right way to do it.
Okay, Captain Savick.
So, yeah. So, other than that, been doing that, and I currently got tapped to do some artwork and do some cartography and maps for a buddy of mine's novel that should be being published soon. So, I'll let everybody know the novel if you guys want to pick it up. It's going to be a fantasy novel. It's a known and published Forgotten Realms author. So, check it out. Keep listening, and I'll let you guys know when it's out and ready.
Will.
Very cool.
Thank you. The love of the halfling's drink has addled your brain.
You had to throw that in.
Oh, yeah, I did. What have I been doing? Let's see. Finished the show a couple of weeks ago. Yo.
What have you been doing this week?
I forgot. Anyway, it's been a rough holiday, but the kids are gone, and got some gaming in. Got a game coming up next Saturday. Looking forward to it. I got my Labyrinth Lord game going on. Got some Saver Dice starting up also next week. We're going to start that up again. And I got this beautiful box set from Lesser Known Games and Zach Galazar. Zach, thank you so much. They had a Kickstarter out there called Whisper and Venom, which is a campaign, world, sandbox, what have you, for any fantasy game system. They gave us each, all four of us on Save or Die, a box set of the $75 level.
What?
Nice.
How come THACO's Hammer doesn't get these kind of goodie swags? What's going on with this world?
That's because
second edition got enough product support from the actual game company to have modules and stuff out there.
Yeah, there's not enough, not enough people doing third-party stuff for second edition. That's why. Anyway, he sent me this nice letter saying thank you. According to him, we plugged this Kickstarter in June, and according to him, within 2 hours they added $1,000 and 12 supporters.
That's awesome.
That's pretty.
So, and THACO's Hammer could do that for you too.
That's right. Somebody out there listening should kickstart an Oriental Adventure second edition rulebook supplement, and we'll freaking publish it and promote it all you want.
We're not going to publish it.
That would be awesome.
Yes, it would. I mean, I got
that and the complete book of Invokers.
Ooh. That
complete book of Invokers.
Well, listen what I got in this thing. Listen, I got this.
It go boom.
What's in that you got?
I got this overlay, which was the cover signed by both the authors. The main book, two beautiful maps. One is double-sided, and the other one is a big fold-out map of the area. I've got I've got what look like about 8 minis of the area, got monster cards, plus a set of red Chessex dice to match.
Wow.
That's pretty badass, sir.
And folks, you can get it. I mean, the Kickstarter's over, but you can still get this. And
you can purchase it?
Yeah, at lesserknown.com/store.
I don't think we should promote that domain on this podcast due to the fact that we didn't get copies. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
You said it's system neutral?
It is system neutral, absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
Well, see, there's no reason you guys can do system neutral stuff on here and explain.
Well, yes, there is. We can get copies. Glenn got a copy. I'm jealous.
System neutral is awesome. System neutral is what I do whenever I bootleg stuff from other systems. So
Amen, brother.
I can make it system neutral.
Yeah, the limited
what's this 2E retro clone? Is there one?
There was somebody was trying to make one.
There's 2 retro clones for second edition. I actually talked to the guy that does Sorcery and Steel, I think is what it is, or Steel. Steel is in the name. I'll have to look when I'm not drinking, but it's in my favorite. I actually have the links. It's actually really, really good, and he's going nuts with it. I'll send you the link, Kojo, tomorrow.
Well, we'll promote the hell out of it if he wants to come out. Because the only ones I knew that were out there, they're still like, we're putting it together. I'm waiting. He says, do you want to promote this? I said, okay. Do you have a PDF or something? No, but I got the text file. No, finish it more before you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know that I don't know if there's one that's actually in Kickstarter mode, but I do know that there's 2 clones out there that they're worked on.
Right. Yeah, one's called For Gold and Glory. That's one.
For Gold and Glory.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
Myth and Magic is the other one.
Myth and
Thank
Magic.
you.
I think Golden Glory is more of a not. It's a retro clone, but it's like if Gary and Dave actually made 2E
Right.
type of thing.
Yeah.
You'll like this, Corey. The cherry on the cake is the art is done by Lloyd Metcalf in the book.
Oh.
And the cover and the box cover is Jeff D.
Get out of here. They got
Nice.
D to do the cover.
They did.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
They did.
All right.
You know Lloyd?
So yeah, I mean, go ahead. What?
But anyway, that's what you get for $75. And I don't know what the price is on the store, but that was the Kickstarter. And it's like,
I've been looking at it, Glenn.
Yeah.
I've been looking at it.
Yeah.
The Whisper and Venom limited edition box set is $79.99.
Okay,
Holy
so
Hey.
I am
What am I
flattered and humbled by this man. Thank you, Zach.
I think you got the complete set, Glenn, which is worth $200.
Pitch pretty much, and
Yeah.
it's like I'm like a pimp in a whorehouse, man. You know,
There's my money.
Did I say fox in the chicken coop? I hope I said that. Yeah.
No,
Anyway.
That's not what you said.
Oh, well, sorry. But anyway.
Too late.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I've been doing. So do we have any emails?
Yes, we do. You want to start, Corey, or shall
You
I?
want me to? Would you like me to pepper my beautiful speaking voice in between, intermixed with yours, or did you want me to start off this flagship?
No, you can start off. I've already
All
got
right.
the second one.
Your
Go
voice
for it.
Well, I got mine
Your
up there.
voice is like pepper spray. Anyway.
Oh. I haven't said the phone number yet tonight, and you know that sounds like velvet. Anyway, all right, first email that we have lined up here is from Mark, last
Blue
name
velvet.
withheld as per his request. We're going to just call him DM Mark. How's that? It's Mark from Las Vegas dropping you a line again. Greetings, gentlemen. Well, after a long binge session, interrupted substantially by the release of Grand Theft Auto 5, I will admit, good job, man. Get all that money. I finally made it through the whole back catalog of your shows, and I'm now up to date. One question I wanted to ask, or possibly bring up for a show topic suggestion, is how you guys handle mass combat in your campaigns. I remember hearing Glenn mention that he had developed an AD&D 2nd Edition conversion for the Beckme War Machine, and I would like to hear how you think this compares to the battle system that was released for mass combat in AD&D 2nd Edition.
Ouch.
The War Machine system looks like the trig homework at first glance. I agree.
Yeah.
But once you run through the numbers a few times, it starts to fall into place, and to me, was very elegant mechanic for working out mass combat for people who don't have a large miniature collection or a whole wargaming setup. Or if you have other methods that you use, I'd be curious to hear about those as well. Just an idea. And I would love to see a video demonstration of this is why you made me read this one. And I would love to see a video demonstration of Corey's projector on the ceiling projecting map onto the table setup. That sounds like a brilliant way to run a game. So what do you say? Can we expect something on YouTube soon? Haha.
No, but
Okay,
on YouTube you do have that candid video we took of Corey doing something off the balcony at the last.
On the 5th floor of the convention. Yes, that video will never see light of day as long as my hard drive stays. Okay, guys, keep up the great work and happy holidays to you all. Cheers, Mark. P.S. If you end up reading this on the air, please leave off my last name. You're welcome, Mark. You can refer to me as Mark in Las Vegas. Thanks. Thank you, Mark in Las Vegas.
Mark, I hate you. You're in Las Vegas.
As far as this goes for me, yeah, I can definitely put up some pictures on OSR Gaming. I can put some pictures up on our Facebook page. I can probably make a quick video if I can figure out and get my roommate to wake up and get out of his binge drinking himself so that he can hold the camera steady enough to make a video. I can definitely set something up for probably next weekend, but yeah, I can definitely do that.
Do you need me to remind you, Corey?
Yeah, or come over here and hold the camera.
With one hand.
I'm just not going to touch that one.
As far as the mass combat, me personally, I've done mass combat plenty of different ways. One of my favorite ways to do it because of my large dice collection, and you're right, you don't need a large mini collection to do mass combat. What I've done is I've used a bunch of 10-sideds and a bunch of 8-sideds, and literally that's the hit points, and you literally use dice for miniatures, and you can literally do mass combat. Now, that's simply because I personally play a lot of 40K and a lot of Warhammer. I'm used to massive amounts of minis on the table. Replacing minis with dice, equaling their hit points, is very simple for me, and my mind can figure it out. Some people like to use pieces of paper, but yeah, you can do it different ways as far as, doing mass combat. You can roll a handful of D20s. There's computer programs that will let you roll 17 times D20 and give you the results if you want to do that kind of math. You could do percentiles on how many matches of volleys of arrows, how many percentages of people got hit. There's different ways of doing it for myself. I just like the dice on the table as long as it's like under 300. After that, then, I'm doing percentiles, and yeah, forget that. I'm not doing that. You guys go outside and smoke a cigarette and go get lunch. I'm going to do this round of combat for the bad guys, all right? I'll see you later.
Well, that's why I've always handled mass combat more abstractly and kind of focus on what the PCs are doing and then describe the rest of it narratively and kind of have it come to a outcome that fits with what the party's doing. But if you want more crunch, one thing I've been looking at, I haven't tried it yet, but Decipher's Lord of the Rings RPG, they've got a Helm's Deep supplement that has a mass combat system in it that I actually think looks pretty good and wouldn't be too hard to convert. And it there's some crunch, but it's not overly so.
What about you? What about you, Full-On?
Well, I've dealt with one of my old GMs used a hybrid of the battle system rules for the large mass combats that we did when we were invading Thar and moving into Bloodstone and stuff like that, doing all kinds of horrible things north of the Moon Sea and the Fallen Stars.
Oh, okay. So
that was one. We've used that model. Again, it all depends on how much you need to scale. It depends on what you're dealing with when you say mass combat. Now, if you're dealing with, I have a orc lair with like 120 orcs, and something has alerted everything at once, and they're all getting into the fight. That's one type of thing. If you're dealing with, formations of, squads and legions of troops, and you start going into the hundreds or thousands of troops, then you need to start coming up with ways to abstract that a little bit more, like Kojo was talking about, where you focus on what the players are doing and you have some system for determining the good, bad, or indifferent results of the greater combat around you, and how your players can affect that by imparting their spells to it or giving some supplementary casting or the greater war sphere of spells and stuff like that. There's all kinds of systems out there to do that, and you want to decide how you want to scale it. If you want to do I'm going to have formations of 10 archers together, and they're going to be treated as a swarm or as a single entity with one mass of hit points and one die roll for them, and they're going to get a plus for however many archers are still left standing. The dice rolling over is also good. You don't have to stick to just D8s and D10s. You could use D6s, D4s, whatever else you want to have in there. Have some D20s rolling around there for classed, leaders or legionnaire or, super soldiers higher within levels. The batch. Yeah, higher levels guys that are going to actually take a few hits to go down or spellcasters and stuff like that. So anything you want to do to swarm your table, you can. And you can have You zoom in or zoom out to whatever scale of operation you want to do, whether it's, this is one figure of an archer that represents a team of 20, and I've got a dice next to him that says there's 20 archers there, and as they get killed off, it just changed the number. That's another way you can do that kind of thing, too, depending on how many numbers you're dealing with. But useful tools for that are also going to include battle sheets, things like some of adventures came out with battle sheets. Some people have made them for their own adventures, where you have a quick scratch sheet to, track the expenditure of troops and munitions or whatever else is going on, siege weapons or other things to look into. Siege weapons, siege magic, all that kind of stuff is going to come into play depending on if you're assaulting a castle or just having a big open field combat. And then the interesting things get in if you start bringing in demons or dragons or other things like that, but that's the whole spirit of it. And you can have adventures that capture that feel if you want it. You just have to build your scale to suit.
Okay.
My friend DMing wants you Skittles to represent, and when you killed an opponent, you got to eat your opponent. It was one of the best combats I've ever been in. It was epic. We had piles of Skittles.
What I did when we did our night back in my last marriage, when we did our Night Below campaign, we used gummy bears.
Nice.
For the monsters.
Heads off them?
Yeah, we just basically, okay, he's dead. Oh, boom, 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 boom. And then the DM turns up, he writes up gummy bears as an encounter.
Gummy bears.
Giant gummy bears, yeah. It's sort
if
of like,
you kill them, do you get your gummy berry juice and get to bounce all over the place?
I guess.
Boinky, 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 boinky.
Brian got that.
Oh my God! Ooh, that was
not those gummy bears.
Gummy bears.
No, he basically played like a delicious fruit flavored gelatinous cube.
Nice. I've seen a gummy golem in game, and that was ridiculous because someone bought one of those 1 pound gummy bears.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we had to cut that thing up with a knife and share it.
I used to go to Price Club and get the 5 pound bags, and so we'd always have gummy bears there. So,
God.
So it's like, here, put 10 gummy bears down there. Okay, fine.
Well, that's why instead of a gelatinous cube, you have a gelatinous mold. He's like scalloped and has the like ridged form around it.
A gelatinous jello mold.
Wow. And then of course you put something like made of like pretzels or candy in the middle. Yeah.
So I hope that helped you, Fred from Las Vegas.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mark from Las Vegas, helping
yes.
and sending in messages. Don't stop sending in messages. We love hearing from you. Keep it up. Brian, I'm done. Back to you, sir. Back to you, Brian.
Oh, well, thank you, Corey.
We got Brian for the weather. And full on for sports.
It's freaking cold outside. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, snow, Arctic temperatures. Yeah. Minus 30 wind chill.
You gotta do it like Family Guy.
Oh, I can't do that. I wouldn't even try. No way. Cold. Oh, man. And of course,
I had to dig out a foot of snow just to get to my grill to do steaks tonight.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah. Oh, so you did do that.
I actually, I did shovel my way to the grill.
Awesome.
Steaks aren't the same unless they're grilled.
I agree 100%, but it's only if you have the right grill. Okay. All right. I'm going to put that email he did in the archive. Okay. I had one. Hold on. Okay. Here's one. This is from DM Jeff in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yep, Minnesota. Yep, Minnesota.
Pass the Lutefisk.
Yeah, oh God, let's not go down that road.
I like Lutefisk.
Yeah. Okay, says, hi guys, I have a question on the interpretation of the pre-spell animal friendship. I would like to start by explaining I'm a newer DM and have run our group from first level up to 4th. During that time, I am learning as my players are learning, and as the DM, well, that's an interesting sentence. He's basically saying he's learning the game ever. Wow. I try to run the game with the opinion that it's more about having fun than being a rules layer.
Good.
Yeah, round of applause. Yay,
yes.
Jeff.
Yes, exactly. With that said, mistakes are made. One mistake I made in the last game was to utilize the spell Animal Friendship in a similar manner as Find Familiar and allow an overpowered animal to be the companion. One of my players, an Elvish Priest of Saloon, sorry, was seeking animal companion.
Saloon is the god of liquor.
Yeah, the god of sarsaparilla. Elvish Priest of Saloon was seeking an animal companion to fit with their background and cast the spell Animal Friendship. I allowed her to find an animal companion, and in doing such, did not fully understand the spell. As I further interpret the spell post-game session, I am trying to understand how to let the player utilize their companion in the future without overpowering the campaign. I understand there's approximately a 3-month period of bonding between the cleric and in this case, a dire wolf. But what I'm trying to figure out is how to let the player use the dire wolf. I'm guessing that the player will try to use the dire wolf to help in combat or to help scout as the training progresses. But as you know, DMs, every time you assume the player will take one path, they do the opposite. Yeah, no kidding.
That's right.
Well, the big thing to remember is the separation between an animal companion and a familiar.
Yeah.
A trained animal companion is one thing, and a familiar is entirely something different.
Yep. Good. Okay.
Are you done with that?
One more sentence. So what dice do you think I should roll on behalf of the direwolf to see how it reacts to the training and commands or even traveling in unfamiliar territory with companions that are not part of its original pack? Is it a save versus spell? Is it a reaction roll to the players and priest charisma? Obviously, there will need to be some role playing with this, as there always should be. But I don't want this something they get without earning. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Well,
I'm looking up the spell while we're talking.
Here's a couple other things to keep in mind. Since you're trying to treat this as an animal companion, as I mentioned before, is different than a familiar. So you're not going to have any psychic bond. You're not going to have any inherent powers. And you're not going to have any hit point loss, which is good. Yeah. On the downside, you're the only one, or that character is the only one who's a friend to that animal. Everyone else in the party is not. For a direwolf, that means everyone else is food.
Or at least something to react to, depending on the actions of the player.
Honestly, it being a dire wolf, if it saw everybody else in the party not a quote unquote friend, and the player itself is the alpha of the quote unquote pack, it being a dire wolf, it would see everybody else in the party as a pack, but lower than itself. It would see itself as beta. Just being a wolf. I'm just saying, as a wolf, it would be like, I don't give a shit about the halfling. You, wizard, I like you. You're alpha. I'll follow you. But the rest of y'all, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can also deal with that with, okay, if you're using this as the leg in to try and use animal training proficiencies and trying to go that route and teach it tricks, you need to keep a good, detailed list of what talents and tricks are trained to the animal, so that by the time you're in play, you already know what it can and can't do and what it can and can't be expected to do or intuit. Otherwise, it's going to react as a natural animal would to several circumstances.
Right.
So it's going to be tricky that way, and you have to make sure that you do a little bit of documentation to go with it along those lines.
Because the spell description says that you can only teach it 3 specific tricks or tasks per point of intelligence.
Correct.
So there is a limited amount of things you can have it do outside probably its normal nature as a wolf.
If it's a canine like that, it gets one extra trick, which is licking itself, but that doesn't help any.
They're born with that, Glenn.
Yeah, that's a free one right there.
It's a good trick for you or me, but not for the wolf.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he can. Yeah. Anyway,
does that mean you're going to give him a bonus to, like, you can make a trick back up if it doesn't matter male or female is going to squat to pee. Lose one trick to take up another. Take a personality quirk.
But going back to it, I was looking up the dire wolf, and I'm like, well, if everybody is like 4th level or thereabouts, that's not that powerful. Yeah. I mean, we're probably thinking winter wolves.
It's not a warg. It's not the intelligent mount of goblins and orcs. It's just a dire wolf. That's really just a really big natural wolf. It's a neutral creature. It's not evil. So that's okay to work with, as long as people aren't presenting themselves as prey and it's fed and happy. You should be generally all right with the rest of the party.
Right.
Horses aren't going to like it. The rest of the mounts are going to have issues with it, so they might have to learn a new trick. But a dire wolf. I mean, have you read any of the the Song of Ice and Fire books? They have to deal with problems with dire wolves there too.
Yeah, essentially, I think if one of the first 3 tricks you need to force your player to learn is don't. Or no. No. Because I'm gonna, hey, boss, I want to eat this horse because no. All right, fine. Exactly. You see the halfling cleric on top? I need her. No, do not eat her horse.
Exactly. It's more or less like the Find Familiar spell, so you weren't too far off. I think the thing is that, teaching tricks. Now remember, this is 2 tricks per intelligence point. So that could be up to 8 different tricks that you could teach it, because it's semi-intelligent between 2 and 4.
That's going to include things like fight, retreat, fetch,
right.
And
guard. And the whole thing is that you also have to deal with, like, full on touched on, is that you have to deal with the ancillary effects of having a 12-foot long wolf following people around. It's not like you're going to walk through town with a dire wolf.
Right.
Because, town guard's not going to look too kindly upon that. They're going to think you're up to something as town guard.
It's not going to squash all their instincts.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the other thing. The player's gonna have to be spending, aside from training it, spending a lot of his time, teaching that dire wolf. Yeah, no. but because you're taking something out of the wild and it's not by any means domesticated. So, it's going to be touch and go for a while, and there might actually be some conflicts depending on how the other party members treat it. It's like Corey said, there's going to be, that they come from a pack mentality, and there is a hierarchy within the pack. Yep, and the person casting Animal Friendship is going to be its pack leader, so there's going to be some issues there. So I don't think that you messed up all that badly, Jeff. Like you said, you're learning the game. I think you did okay with it. So it's not overpowered having a 4-hit dice dire wolf with a fourth level party. It's not.
Well, remember, 4 hate dice for a monster is essentially a 4th level fighter.
Correct.
If you really want to have fun and you strap the girdle of Storm Giant strength around its waist, or hang, the
oh my God!
What?
What is wrong with you?
What? Give him a collar. Give him a belt of missile deflection as a collar. Those are cool things.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I was just thinking about giving him a belt of spider. I was thinking about giving him a belt of a spider climb and a bracelet of
There you go.
Yeah. So the moment you said that, I was like, oh my God, we are on the same page. You and me need to DM a game.
I'm not playing in that game. Hell no.
I'll play.
But Corey, you have to also understand something. Full-On's been with us for almost 60 episodes now. You're just now figuring this out.
No, I figured out before. I like the fact that I thought that an idea and said, no, that I'm not going to say it. And then Full On comes out and says almost the exact same thing. I was like, wow.
I'll go where you don't in a minute. Huh? I'll go where you don't in a heartbeat.
That's fine. I won't go there verbally, but I'll go there mentally. You can be the mouth. That's fine. But yeah, I don't have no problem with them having a direwolf as an animal companion. It's just you got to realize there's a difference between animal friendship or animal companion and find familiar. Animal companion is kind of like your buddy, and you're with your buddy in a dark corridor, and you say to your buddy, "Hey, let's go down there and touch that dead body." Your buddy's gonna go, no, that's not happening. But if you have a buddy that you created or that you pulled to you and your health is his health, and if he dies, half of your health disappears, and you essentially are one mind and your spells you can cast can go through your buddy, and you say, come with me, they're gonna go, okay, no problem.
Okay.
There's a difference between finding familiar and animal companion.
Oh,
I have no problem. To show them the difference of what they've done, but still give them the abilities, leave the dire wolf alone with them. Let the dire wolf be there. Let the dire wolf start growling or showing its dominance when it's time to eat at the campfire. It eats second, let them see that this dire wolf is just a friend with the caster. And also, if that caster decides to get a little mouthy and be like, hey, run into that pack of orcs and tell me how many's in there, those dire wolf's going to go, GFYS, I'm not doing it. Because
and also
it's an
remember
animal
that
friend.
You're also just dealing with it. You don't have any means of animals, speaking with animals going on here. You're just a friend. So You've got to figure out how to impart the tricks, tell it when it's got to do it, worry about what's going to happen if, say, did you teach the tricks with hand signals or did you teach the tricks with voice commands? And what happens if you do it, if someone throws darkness on you? No more hand commands. What if someone throws silence on you? No more voice commands. It's not that overpowering a situation, and it can be dealt with in a number of ways quite easily.
Yep. I see a picture of a female direwolf saying to his ranger, I just like you as a friend.
Now, I don't want to make everybody who listens to our show roll their eyes and sigh. But
sure you do.
Yeah, you do.
For the person, hold on. If you need to read the Dark Elf trilogy or read the Crystal Shard trilogies, read the intros or read about Drizzt talking to Guinevere, and then take away the friendship value. Take away some of that value of obedience, and you essentially have what the direwolf's going to do.
I wouldn't even go that far. I would not even go that far. I would mark it down to a stage less than what you have with the direwolf companions of all the people who's still alive and haven't died yet in the Song of Ice and Fire. You know.
Oh, there you go.
That is natural wolves running around with people knowing some tricks, not... Yep. And even in the novels, they're actually bound by friggin' magic mental things that are more on par with ranger crap than even with Find Familiar. But even then, you know, because you've got 3 stages of animal companion in the D&D realm. You've got the familiar, you've got the druid or ranger's animal companion, and then you've got just, hey, I'm a dude who casts animal friendship, or I have a trained animal.
Yeah, don't eat me. The don't eat me level, yeah. Essentially, yeah. You could have some real fun with that.
You do what I tell you, and we'll work something out.
Yeah, you could have real fun with that, especially by going like, hey, you see that halfling over there? I need you to go protect it. You mean the halfling that's bleeding? The one that I essentially don't see below me as being beta? You want me to go over there? Okay, I'll go over there.
We'll lick his wounds. Yeah. Wow, those are tasty wounds.
Or even worse, it is animal friendship, but it doesn't say animal obedience. You have that wizard that casts that get wounded, and it's alpha, and that beta is time to take over.
Brad in our game has had animal companions whose saliva is healing. Oh, dear. Yeah. So we were all talking about him French kissing the monkey, so.
That's how you get ants.
I know, he did that a couple of times. And
red-ass baboon with fangs that's, you know, quick, I can't get out to cast heal on him. Go bring the halfling to me. He goes running across the battlefield, grabs the halfling by the ankle, and drags him along with a broken doll behind him.
Even better, grabs him by the neck with his teeth and just drags him through the trees.
Well, when you're a 12-foot-long direwolf and you're picking up someone supposedly to care for them, you're probably going to pick them up with a scruff of the neck or the back, you know, hope you have a scruff there.
That's what was it, Siegfried and Roy out in the... Siegfried and Roy on the Forgotten Realms. Anyway, thank you. Who was that?
That was DM Jeff.
Thank you.
Thanks, DM Jeff.
Okay, I think we have one more, don't we?
Yes, we do. We have an actual forum post over in our THACO's Hammer forum post. This one comes from Sir Thomas, also posting as Sir Thomas 1. Okay. It's about monkeying with the Bard class. He says, Salvete mi amici. I'm a recent addition to these forums, though since about April I've become quite a fan of both THACO's Hammer and RFI podcasts. I was planning on posting the following thoughts on RFI, but on reflection figured here was better. Well, of course here's better. We don't have Vince. That's mainly because it pertains to the Bard class, and I'm in agreement with the majority out there that the Bard, as originally written by GG in the 1E Player's Handbook, was pretty much unplayable. The 2E Bard, while more playable, can be confusing for new players, but in tandem with the Splatbook kits, it's still an improvement. And of course, I've been a Conception in 1989. My wife is currently playing a Gypsy Bard from ancient Numidia. Our campaign is set in a Roman Republic setting. A little way into the character's career, I proposed to her that we modify her character's spellcasting abilities, giving her pre-spells instead of wizard spells. She is now a rather unwilling vessel for the god Ishu, who is a big part of many African cosmologies. Why the change? Well, it fit in better with the character who came from Northern Africa, where the way of knowledge is encoded is quite different from the write, memorize, cast, rememorize Vancian model of AD&D. More, in nearly 24 years of on and off play in 2E, I don't think any of my players has ever made a priest character. We've never had access to healing magic, and even as a DM, I'm almost completely unfamiliar with the priest spells of 2E. This was a chance to have some of those powers represented. I was delighted when I read a Dragon magazine recently from like 1980 or so that talked at length about the relationship of druids to bards historically. Suddenly, I felt vindicated in making such a drastic change to a class. Granted, I gave my wife's character different spell spheres than plant and animal because I have a ranger in my party already and didn't want so much overlap of what little magic we have represented. So, do y'all have any thoughts on this concept? A bard, normally so winsome and carefree, getting divine powers thrust upon her whether she wants them or not. As a role-playing issue, she finds herself constantly having to use such powers during tense and dangerous situations, which of course binds her ever more closely to the agenda of a god. After all, gods don't give power for free. They do it when they want something in return, or if they have some future use for you. So the character both chafes and rejoices in having the magic she does. As DM, I don't know quite yet how I plan to have Ishu further manipulate her destiny. This is an experiment, after all. I'm just interested in seeing how other DMs out there might react, and I'd like to solicit examples from you about how you've modified classes to fit your campaigns. You podcasting guys, please keep up the good work. If you have a show already dedicated to the Bard, please let me know the number of it, and I'll pull it from my iPhone right away. Valetas, amici. And enthusiasts.
Hey, Brian, it's a Bard question.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'd love to hear a show on Bard.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Let's see.
And again, I
love it to be
say,
a bard.
wow.
Let's see. A bard that can part her own waters. I think it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is, but for sake of not only player dissatisfaction but spousal dissatisfaction, I wouldn't run the train full speed down the tracks completely unless you have an overarching campaign goal in mind for doing it.
Or likes to sleep on the couch.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's that, yeah. Let's see. The way I see it, it's not a bad idea to, change it around if that's what you want to do. That's okay. That's exactly what D&D, or second edition D&D specifically, basically say. It's like, yeah, take the game, change what you want, leave what you don't want to change, and make it yours.
Yep.
So yeah, go for it. If
we love this
you're
game.
Exactly. If you're enjoying it, and more importantly, because not only she's one of your players, she's your wife, if she's enjoying it, then go for it. Go crazy, go nuts.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I feel.
Okay.
Well, going in with that, again, lots of people have been commenting on this particular post from our forums, and one of the comments in it was that, hey, the Celts campaign setting book makes exactly that kind of change to merge the priest spells into the bard class as you're talking about in your campaign. So it's not a bad thing to reference. It's actually got documentation to go with it if you want.
What a coincidence. We happen to be talking about that very book on this show.
Hey, how about that?
Soap my rope.
I'm after the segue or what?
You are the king of segues.
Oh, man. Soap my rope and fan me with a brick. Wow.
Fan you with a brick? How's that happen? Anyway.
But remember that when it comes to dealing with your bard class, there's other things that happen. I mean, there's people who get it, and there's people who don't get it. The classes, the class book, the splat book, the player's option book, they're out there to help people see the different ways they can get it. Because a bard doesn't have to be just, I'm going to sit here like Elan and order the stick, and I'm going to inspire my party has fun. You don't want to just be the guy who gives a +1 and sits in the back trying not to get hit. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that bards are. They can be historians. They can be combat casters. Like you were saying the other day when we were talking about Kung Fu Hustle. That's a combat caster bard.
Yes,
Straight up.
It is.
Okay. Jester buffoon, dancer acrobat, con man, detective, lore master, spy, politician, inspiration, infiltration, whatever it is you want to do, build it in. Make your face man, make your font of knowledge, make the guy who's out to preserve knowledge, make it the guy who's out there looking for the new stories that are going to become preserved knowledge. Okay? Or the guy who's out to just immortalize himself and be a rock god. And, immortalize himself in their own way and be something that other bards talk about. I mean, there's all kinds of bards.
I love it. I love it when Full-On has brain diarrhea. It's great.
To answer the question of the letter, the writer of that email, yeah, I've done it. There's no reason why gods themselves, being fickle and selfish in the way they are, don't go, you see that bard down there? I'm giving him cleric powers. Why? Because I need him to do something. Why? Because I looked through his thread of fate and I believe that he could help me in doing something. Plus, there's no reason why, to use our modern religions of our world. Not that if anybody has listened to the show long enough, they know I don't like peanut butter in my chocolate. I don't like reality in my fantasy game. But if that bard singing "Jesus loves me, this I know," there's no reason why that god of the songs he's playing would not give him special abilities and or spells due to the fact because he is singing and promoting that deity's religion. Because there are hymns, there are songs, there are praises in musical format to deities. Maybe that bard learned to play his lute from the church lute player who was in the church band who only knew hymns and psalms or whatever. So obviously the songs he knows he's going to play. So that would get the attention of the deity to go, I'm giving you first level cleric spells because you're praising me. You walk around, hey, you just found a church in this town. Hey, you're going to go get some extra coin by going to the church and playing in the church choir or whatever. Hey, every church you've gone to, anybody who's listening knows, you go to church, there's a pianist or an organist or somebody who's playing the music for the choir. That is a bard. Yeah. Back in the days, not everybody had a piano. So there's lute players and there's flutists and there's, people who play stuff other than the pianist or the organ that would be for support of that deity. You have a bard who only learn, boom, you get clerical spells. There's no problem with it. And I think it's a good idea for your wife if that's what you want to go with. That deity's like, I got plans for that chick. She's my bard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like you can have, there's people who do choir songs and stuff like that. I mean, what is a better way to cast a really good high-level super enchantment than with a chant? Take a look at Metalocalypse. They do it. Take a look at Rock and Roll. When my name is Mock. Yes. Okay, he's summoning greater demons, dude. Yes.
So that's what tells us. I'm sorry, what?
No, I was just going to say that's just like essentially, when someone supposedly does a Christian miracle, what is the first song that is sung when the music and the light shines down from heaven on somebody? Hallelujah. Hey, guess what? That's a bard. Hello.
I thought that was Inagata.
There's Inagata Devita, yeah, essentially. But yeah, you get my point.
And also to answer his other question, we covered the Bard's Handbook in Splat Book number 8.
There you go. Go back into old 8.
Son of a gun! So that's what televangelists are.
Exactly, they're bards. Hello, with high charisma. Give them their money because they need a new Cadillac. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go, sir. Yeah, boy.
My wife needs a new bucket of makeup.
Yeah. And is it limited to D&D? No, because you got the rocker boy in the media in Cyberpunk. You got the slicer tech scoundrel and noble in Star Wars. Who's your face man? Let him get out there.
Sir Jimmy of Swaggart.
That's right. My wife needs a new bucket of makeup. Please give your donations to my deity while we sing hymns to him.
What was the lyric go? Send me money, send me green heaven, you will meet, make a contribution, and you'll get the better seat.
Yep.
Put your hands on the radio.
Battle leper.
This song,
Hey, I better stop quoting Metallica lyrics. Lawrence will sue us.
Uh-oh.
We don't
rubber rotten friction bad.
Okay. Are we done, gentlemen?
I think so.
Okay.
Wait, I believe we have one more email.
All right, come on.
Are you doing what I think you're doing, Corey?
Yes, sir, I am. Ladies and gentlemen who are listening in the audience, we have a special guest with us tonight of DM Kojo, who happens to write to us often and frequently, which we love. But we figured since he's here, we figured since he's here, he might as well read one of his emails to us directly, and then he can give us his input. Wouldn't that be a great way for him to get his question?
Kojo, this wasn't my idea. I tried to say this.
Welcome to On the Fly with DM Corey. So, Kojo, why don't you read us one of your emails that you have here that you want us to answer for you while you're here?
Oh, man.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Hello, Hammer Wielders.
Hi.
I recently discovered that I have a previously undocumented condition known as SOFTS, Spell Overload Fatigue Trauma Syndrome. This affliction arises when a DM owns the complete set of wizard and priest spell compendiums and is overcome with a desire to include as many of the spells in his campaign as possible. For example, I began a project to compile a master table of wizard and priest spells by spell level with numbers assigned for random spell determination. This daunting task proved more than I could tackle, but I still have tried to present as many of these spells in my game as possible. This is especially challenging with priest spells because the player gets to pick the entire compendium each game day. It really slows down pre-game warm-ups. I have come to realize that these awesome books may have allowed me to go too far with spells. I know that I should scale back the spells available in my campaign, but yet the temptation to go to some little-known spell in the compendium is ever present. Can you recommend ways to deal with this strange affliction? Many thanks, the awesome, stupendous, always entertaining DM Kojo.
Thank you for calling. Thank you for calling in, Kojo. Damn, it sounds just like a voicemail. Anyway,
actually,
there's pills for that.
It could be a tumor.
For
How would he get that voicemail? Corey, how would he get that voicemail in, like everyone else?
Oh, well, they can dial our phone number. What's that phone number? It's 405-806-0555.
Or you could write us at THACOshammer@gmail.com.
Kojo.
Now, shall we answer his question?
Yes. Kojo, to answer your question, since I did this to you.
I'm tying you up for your own good. Let me slap you a couple times. You do not need to use the entire frickin' books.
Kojo, in the ancient kingdoms, what I do for my players, because they see my few books that I have, because I'm not special like you, a hard copy of every single one of those books because I hate you. I don't own them. I have them on digital format. What I do is I tell the players that they're able, all those spells are in my world. They're all in there. Okay, but as far as modern known spells, it is the spells in the core rule book or in the back of the priest handbook. I think there are some spells back there, but regardless, those are the spells that are known to modern world. All of the other ones that are in there that you find that you're like, oh man, this is a really great spell. It allows me to do chromatic orb. This is a fantastic spell that belongs in wands. That is a lost spell that they may find on a scroll. They may find in a magic item. They may find in a lich's spell book that they will covet because it's not known by every Tom, Dick, and Elminster out there that they can just be like, okay, level 4, I'm getting chromatic orb, here we go. This way they see these books, and when you pull them out and you're like, page 54 is where the spell's at, their eyes will light up and they'll be like, awesome, I get forbidden knowledge or lost knowledge. Let them tell them, listen, you get the spells out of the player's handbook. Yeah, but I want this spell. Then go looking for it. Or better yet, go, hey, here's the list of spells that you found in the wizard's handbook that you just destroyed the arch wizard with. What the heck spell is that, and why is there a number 54 behind it? Oh, it's because it's in this book in 54. Their eyes will widen like, dude, I get spells that aren't even in the freaking core book. They will love it. You still get to use those cool spells you want to do. Don't hand it to them as a large basket of cornucopia of spells that they can pull from the get-go. Use those as the wizards or clerics' magic swords. Use them as rewards for destroying the wizard. That's how I do it. And every time they see me pull those books down when it's time to do treasure, their eyes light up and go, here we go, let's do this. And they want that book in their hands because they know I'm going to give them a spell that's like, it says Maztica on it. Where did this come from? Now I got to go find serpent feathers. Exactly. You know, they get excited when you use it.
Except for Corey's world, where wands of chromatic orb are like water.
Oh yeah, everybody has one.
Yeah, everyone walks around armed with wands of chromatic orbs. Yeah,
that's how you ring doorbells, with the wand of chromatic orb. You know.
Oh boy,
you had the pre-spell compendium.
A little bit more of the smorgasbord and more of the cornucopia approach, because you can give them the cornucopia, but cornucopia doesn't mean everything. Although I too say everything's there. It's all there. It's all
just a matter of finding it.
What I do is I approach it more of a to help manage the preparation thing. Is you give them a shape to their cornucopia. Like you have the one that's full of fruits, you have the one that's full of nuts, and you have the one that's full of meat. Okay, so when you craft their spell list, or they craft their spell list that they have available, you do the same thing with the priests. They get, instead of trying to page through the books and the books and the books, and it's all the text and all the write-ups, have them just stick with the indexes, have them just stick with the sphere lists, the spells by level list, and isolate the things that you want immediately available in your campaign, and the rest of it treat like the lost knowledge type thing that Corey was talking about.
Right.
I like that idea. I mean, this is a problem I have in 2E in general, right? Because same thing with the kits and everything else. I mean, there's so much good stuff to tap into. Yep. You want to use as much of it as you can, and sometimes it just gets a little, I think, overwhelming in game prep because, and then when you combine that with my other addiction, which is randomly generated things. I'm the guy that randomly rolls the magic items when I'm preparing my adventure, and if I roll something that's going to break it, I still stick it in there because I think, I rolled it.
And he uses the tables in the back of the Encyclopedia Magica.
Exactly.
I've done that.
Okay.
There are a couple adventures I have where, there are magic items generated out of the Encyclopedia Magica.
Here's the thing, Kojo. You have the Wizard and Spree spell compendium, right?
Yes.
Bastard.
I have them.
I don't have the pre-spell compendium. But do you also have the Encyclopedia Magica?
I do.
Okay.
Yep.
Here's the thing. Next time, like you're thinking about pulling treasure, or even for like a something to red herring or whatever, go to a volume of Encyclopedia Magica, flip open in the middle of the book, close your eyes, and point.
Yep.
Whatever's there, you use as a magic item. Now, that magic item may have spells or spell-like abilities that aren't in your world yet. So they get it and they go, oh, wow, we got this thing that does that. Can I recreate it as a spell? No, you don't know how. It's just in that thing. And then they want to go, well, maybe we could either make it ourselves or find a quest where we find the guy who made this thing.
Yeah, good luck with that.
And that's one way.
Outlined in Spells and Magic to try to craft and create a spell.
Right. The other thing is, Kojo, if you have a problem with your players being motivated and they know the spells that are in there, the other thing you can do is when you look in the Encyclopedia Magica, or not the Encyclopedia Magica, blah, 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 in the spell compendiums, whether it's the priest or the wizard, you'll notice that they'll tell you what world they come from. Ravenloft, Darksun, Maztica. Right. You can tell them, the Maztica section, unknown in your area. You're in Gothic Germany. You want those Maztica spells? Go to South America. That's that continent over there. And they'll be like, well, guess what, guys? We're going to freaking South America. Let's go. Or you see that Ravenloft spell? You want those Ravenloft spells? You got to go over into Darkholme. That's that region over there that's been destroyed and is currently nighttime in my world. And they have haunted cities that are like right out of Half-Life 2.
Go to Ravenloft. And you're also within your bounds to say that those spells only work in Ravenloft, Red Steel, Darksun, Maztica. The gods who empower them do not authorize their use outside of the specified region.
And the really fun ones, when they come from like the basic stuff, like Mystara, where it's like, what?
Yeah, well, I was trying to keep his players in the same realm.
Well, I know, but I mean,
awesome. Why don't my magic missiles do D6 anymore? Because you're in the Forgotten Realms and ours don't. You suck.
Yeah, I mean, my initial solution was to create, like I said, random tables with numbers based on spell frequency, and it was a grand vision that I just don't have the time for to flip through page to page for every book.
There's people who've already done that work for you.
Somebody throw out a set somebody throw out a not really common magic spell from second edition. Anything.
Blasting Bones.
Blast bones. Okay, fine. They find here's a cell, blast bones, but it doesn't work this way. Blast bones is you found Fred's blast bones.
Oh God! Nice. Yeah, personalized spells. It happens. Sure.
Yeah, and it's like it works differently. It works this way because I don't know. He didn't finish it, or he decided he was using it for something else. It only blasts the bones.
One thing that it does because that's what somebody hit him with.
Right.
That's awesome. I want to learn how to do that.
It only works on giant bones, or orc bones, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tweak.
Yeah, because I had an elven fighter character.
Say one dragon thigh bone, because that's what I use for my blast bone spell, baby. I'm a war mage.
I had an elven fighter player who was taught by a female great mage on how to play his mage side, and his teacher was a female mage, and it was always male chauvinist, Mr. Hey, you get the water for the campfire because I'm a man and I hunt the bear and I get food. So essentially every one of his magic missiles were hot pink, and he hated me when I described the hot pink magic missiles. He was taught by a female who created her own magic missiles. Yeah, it was hilarious. He hated it every time he cast magic missile. Keep it up.
I don't know about you guys, but I thought that email was very insightful and well written.
It was. Thank you, DM Kojo, for writing in.
Thank you, Kojo. If you, like I said, write us in THACOshammer@gmail.com. We must move on, fellas.
Yes, we must.
Let's go into option package.
My personality undergoes a startling change.
You should meet me because I'm a great guy.
I like big fat men like you. When they fall, they make more noise. And sometimes they never get up.
Option package.
Option package. Okay, we're getting into the Green Splat books now for a bit. The Celts Campaign Source Book, number 9376. Published in 1992. It was done by Graham Davis, edited by Thomas M. Reed. All right, Corey, how's the artwork?
What?
I thought
the artwork in it? The artwork's awesome.
Yeah, you only go in like 4 pages, and there's this nice little thing of some Celts. One's in a chariot, the other one.
Roger Rout.
Yep. Good stuff.
Yeah, Roger Rout did some good illustrations in here. I love his back illustrations of some of the Nereids and some of the other monsters in here. The Seed, the Knuckleavy, and he did some great artwork in here for combat scenes that reminds me a little bit of I can't think of his name. He did the popular Darrow picture. He's all over Dragon's Foot.
Okay.
I can't think of his name. Anyways, but yeah, he did some great full-page images, like on page 82, of the Celts fighting some of the Romans. And, dude, I like his artwork. It's simple. And there's just this one picture of a guy hugging a girl from behind in page 62 during a Celtic celebration party where there's a pig being roasted, but there's a guy hugging a girl from behind, and the girl kind of looks like she needs like a whistle or something. I don't know what's going on.
A whistle?
She needs, she looks like she needs pepper spray, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta say there's one drawing on page 44 of the Nereids. It's like, very nice, very nice. What the hell is that thing on the shore?
That's a Knuckleavy. So I'm telling you, it's a Knuckleavy.
Really? I looked at the monsters. I didn't see it. That's a Knuckleavy.
Look on the opposite page at the top.
Oh, that thing with the tail? Oh my God, that thing is scary looking.
Yep.
And they don't have it written up here.
Yeah, it is. I said it's on the opposite page, on page 45 at the top left. It's a blend of horse and killer whale with hooves, fins, and enormous mouth. Rising from the back of the main body is a human-like torso with a huge, misshapen, one-eyed head. That is a Knuckleavy. It's one of my favorite monsters that actually made it into Mystara, and I was disappointed it didn't get into Forgotten Realms, so I stole it out of the Mystara book so I could use it in my world.
It's a weird centaur-type creature.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a marine centaur.
Okay.
It's a were-killer shark centaur. It's kind of cool.
Anyway, as I was saying, this source book, I believe, I mean, Corey, you don't like the historical source books, so you really need to give this a chance. Because as Kojo was saying, you say this is like the most fantasy-ish of them?
I mean, I think it is. I mean, when you look at some of the other ones, the Glory of Rome, the Vikings one, there's a lot of historical emphasis, but, not as much emphasis on the mystical creatures and the
Celts
thing like that. But Celts, and you talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just much more lends itself to, I think, to fantasy type creatures and druidic magic,
like the druids and the fae and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is the one I've never played one of the historical campaigns, completely as a historical campaign, but
which is weird because you're a history teacher.
Well, I never found a group that wanted to play a purely historical campaign. I would probably enjoy it more than they would, but I have pulled parts of all of these different books and used them from time to time, and this is the book I've referenced the most.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just, there's a lot of good stuff in here, and I've always kind of envisioned, kind of one section of my homebrew campaign world really is very Celtic in theme, so it fits.
They paint their face blue and howl at the moon?
Not quite that, but.
Oh, okay.
And seduce French princesses?
and live forever and need to cut their heads off in order to gain each other's power.
No. Anyway, I mean, I like it because, this one isn't, at least to me, it wasn't quite as dry as the other two we've covered. This one kept my interest more because, there's a lot more of a fantasy element in this one than even the Norse one we did, a few months back. And, I like the monsters, the Knuckleavy is something that I didn't realize what it was. Then once I did, I'm like, I remember this. But, it goes into, the different, spells that the bards would use, the spell spheres that the druids would use.
Right.
And, which is, I like it because it's a different flavor. I mean, it's good enough to me that, if I was to make a campaign world from scratch, Of course, I would have a Celtic area because, I just think that, the Celts are kind of cool, even modern day, even though, it's kind of overstated, shall we say. Right. But just looking through this, through the magic items, the magical islands, which is kind of cool. I like that idea. I mean, the only time I've ever seen a magical island used was in an old D&D module, where basically some elves are sitting on the shore of sitting on the shore and looking up over at the island, and they know they can't go over there because they'll lose their minds pretty much. So they, of course, get the party to go over there, to do what needs to be done. Magical effects, there's some items can be prohibited, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm losing prohibitive. That's what I meant. Prohibitive to certain materials and things like that. It gives you a lot of, even if you're just, looking to lift stuff out of this and put it in your, into your campaign world ad hoc, if you will. It has a lot more fantasy elements than any of the other ones we've covered so far. And to me, I think that has a lot more use.
Right. Well, and I think something else that it has going for it, unlike some of the other books that are looking at specific cultures, when you talk about Celts, I mean, there's so many varieties within that culture. You've got the British Celts, and you've got the, the Iberian Peninsula Celts, and you've got Middle European. So there's lots of different Celtic traditions, and you can kind of take, bits and pieces of different ones. You can kind of forge your own because it's really such a mosaic of a culture. So
you could dip into the Hyborian Picts. You could dip into the Obelisk and Asterix with their magic, druid juice.
Right. I forget Gaul had druids too.
Yes, they did.
Oh yeah,
French. Yeah. The French.
Yep. Yes, they. I mean, you wouldn't think so on unless of course you've got Kojo's background. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was interesting in and of itself because I'm of the opinion that my limited knowledge of civilization back then, the French were always the French in some way, and then I read this and it's like, oh wow, look at that. I never knew.
Yeah. No, it's a very interesting culture to study, no doubt about it.
They actually go into some of the different equivalents to the D&D monsters, like the Nixies, like the mermen. The Behir are actually in their in Scotland, which is kind of cool. Brownies, of course. I mean, you've got that whole thing. You've got the Fae. You can go that way and just never look back. I like it a lot. This is cool.
This is
a lot of interesting.
I think Kojo's right because I think this is the one that could be blended into an existing campaign the easiest.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can have player characters from this type. If not from that land, something like it in your world.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I mean, I've had players who, frame their backstory from Celtic tradition just because it's something that interested them. Uh-huh. And so even though I didn't import it in, they brought it in and kind of fleshed it out themselves. So.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And if you want to have real fun with it, then you don't like, peanut butter in your chocolate like Corey, you could always do the thing where, okay, these are going to be the tribal rituals and status of the orcs that I have here, or you could do it with any of the humanoids or any of the demi-humanoids. You can have, Celtic halflings.
Yeah, you mate. Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, just going back to a movie like Lord of the Rings, looking at the halflings, looking at the halfling communities, I'm sorry, but that's mostly, at least to me, accents aside, that's more British / minor Celtic influence, just how they went about things, how some of them were just born troublemakers like Merry and Pip, or, those who are just sort of just going about their business, like Sam. Like Sam, yeah, like Frodo up until, he had the ring put on him. To me, it's like you can just sprinkle this here and sprinkle that there. I mean, you could create almost an entire campaign world not using things directly out of this, but to take a little bit of influence here or a little bit of history there, and you could have a completely viable campaign world if you're willing to put in the work.
Right. As most DMs do. So let's break this down. What do we got in this book? The usual stuff. What we don't have, no, there it is right there. Table of contents, son of a gun.
Yeah, right at the beginning.
Okay.
Right where it is.
They give you a base, like in all books, they give you kind of a mini history course on Celtic history. Characters, kits, magic, monsters, some really unique monsters that everybody should be using.
And the funny part is some of those monsters that made it in here were in first edition. That's the funny part to me. They just, for some reason, didn't get transferred over.
Right.
You know, there were a couple in there that I was just looking at that I was like, wait a minute, I know that monster. I know that monster. Why weren't these in the Monstrous Compendium? Interesting.
Right. Plus they got like, you know, treasure and equipment unique to the Celts. Mm-hmm. Which there are many, equipment, magic items. You know, what magic items from the main book would fit in a Celtic type campaign?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like you know what? The best part to me, or at least what I'm going through right now, is that they actually go and they explain the names and the pronunciation thereof.
Yeah.
You know, because some of them I've been mispronouncing ever since, you know, and if I wasn't mispronouncing it or I was pronouncing it correctly, I was misspelling it because I was spelling it phonetically rather than, you know, the Celtic spelling, which is completely and totally different.
Right.
You know?
Right. No, that chart of Celtic names is pretty cool.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And the Celtic culture, they talk about the class system, which was kind of like the British class, what evolved into the British class system.
Right.
And a section on temples and sacred groves, which is very important to them. I don't know if they have anything on the Fae in here.
No, actually, I don't think they have too much, but, you know, that
one day away from them, like all good people should.
Yeah. Don't get involved in them because it usually turns badly. They have, like, the heroic feats, you know, like the chariot jump and the gay bolga, which is, you know, something that, you know, the Irish hero Chuchu Lane did.
Right.
You know, and it's like, you know, it's a barbed spear. This thing requires 6 proficiency slots to use.
Wow.
Yeah, 6, which is like really weird. But, the feats you could do with it, like, let's see. When the feat of the Gay Bolga is used, the character may make no other attacks in that round or the next, lose all dex bonuses to AC for those 2 rounds, and because it requires absolute concentration and puts you off balance. You make an attack roll, and if it succeeds, your character may use your level as a multiplier of spear's damage.
Right.
So if you're 3rd level, it's triple. If you're 10 level, it's times 10.
And the one appendix they have in here talks about an optional thing called Enoch, which is face. Gaining and losing Enoch.
Yeah, it's sort of like an honor system, yes.
Right. So the Japanese were not the only ones who did that, or the Chinese.
No.
Which can also be found in the first edition Orient Adventures book under face, saving face.
That's right.
The honor system.
Same thing.
Yep, same exact thing.
It all depends on how deep you want to go with the Celts.
Right. Yeah, you can go a little, you can go a lot, yes.
Now, I'll tell you, the one thing that I pulled most often is for this region I was talking about in my campaign world that's Celtic. There's an optional playable race in the monsters. It's called the Sidhe.
Yeah.
Sidhe, but pronounced she.
Yep.
Be the Fae.
Yeah, it basically is their version of the elf. But what I like is on page 46, it specifically talks about how the Sidhe are reputed to be the best at being bards. Right. They get a +1 bonus on all their bardly music and poetry skills. They can multi-class as a bard mage. Awesome. And I've actually used a she bard mage as a recurring character in one of my old campaigns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes on to the different types. She, the Lenon she, which is kind of interesting into itself. I mean, Ed Greenwood himself took that and put it into his Forgotten Realms system, years ago, where it was like this spirit that was, out to more or less destroy bards by seducing them. Then you have the Lenanchi, which kind of is the same kind of thing, but it goes into greater detail. In Forgotten Realms, it's a monster to be overcome. In this, it's sort of like, this is what happens, this is what it does, and sooner or later, the funny part is that, when you are in a relationship with a Lenanchi, your creativity just goes off the charts. But the problem is that it starts draining your life away, and, depending on, the she's, personality or alignment, if you will, it can either, she'll either leave him, at the point where it's starting to kill him, breaking his heart but saving his life. But then there are some who go the complete other way. It's like, no, keep creating. You're doing great things. Who cares?
They're not going to go like Olivia Newton-John? They're going to make him stay? Okay.
Oh, God. Now, wait a minute. What? Oh, God, was that a Xanadu reference?
Yes, it was.
Oh, my God.
Come on, man. Keep with the conversation.
Oh, my God. I haven't seen Xanadu in years. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah, going into the monster section, the Boobry, that was one that was in freaking first edition that never got put over to second.
Right. I like the water horse. Nessie.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
Well, and Celtic culture gave us the Fomorian and the Furbolg giant kin too. Right. So
yes, they did.
And those have been in D&D canon for a long time, but I don't think everybody knows that those were Celtic in origin. So they're kind of rehashed here.
This book also almost makes me want to pull out my old first edition deities and demigods.
Yes, it does. Because those were some of my first deities that I turned to out of those demigods was, hey, these are some pretty awesome deities. Mm-hmm. I like their approach to some things.
Yeah. Choo-choo. I like, he was just a hero, or more or less, or I think no more than a demigod
Deities and demigods?
Thank you, deities and demigods, thank you.
I'll help you.
But yeah, I mean, I like that the fact that they actually explained some of his past, some of his feats and some, how he came to be such a hero.
Right.
And then, then you come out with this, and now you can just, plop this in your campaign or create a campaign around it. They even have a Gaze It's Here towards the back of the book, which gives you, sort of like, if you were going to run a full Celtic kind of campaign, this at least gives you, the primer for it. Excuse me.
Right.
So,
well, the other nice thing that I use a lot out of this book is the section where it talks about clans, the Celtic clans, clan life. It's in chapter 7, but there's a subsection in there. And it's really the only one of the historical books that spends a lot of time on clans, because the other cultures that are in these books weren't, clan organized as much. The Vikings to some degree, but the Celts, are really well known.
The only way you're going to get it is going through the humanoids tribes or the barbarian handbooks clans.
Right. Oh, here's another main. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to agree with Full On there that, I've always kind of imagined my barbarians as being Celtic in origin, even subconsciously, I think, before I really thought about it.
Mm-hmm. Not the Conan version, but the Celtic version?
Yeah, for me it was always the Celtic version, but that's a history teacher in me, I guess.
Here's another D&D connection. Corey, what is the name of the god of knowledge in the Forgotten Realms?
Ogma.
Also known as the god of wrestling and athletics, Ogma.
Straight out of Celtic lore.
Yep.
And they
Love you, Ed. Love you, Ed.
Yep, there it is, right
That's
there.
the only one I saw that he actually took out of a pantheon.
But
in the realms.
Exactly.
No, there's more in there. There's more in there.
Yeah.
There's several here.
Ed loves the Scandinavian gods as well.
Yes,
Ed,
he does.
Yeah, Ed loves his
But thanks for the bone to the Celts.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, he definitely threw him a bone for sure. And then, I'm reading through chapter 7 as we're going, where it starts talking about religion, and Ogma's in there, you've got Dagda in there,
Right.
Oh, pronounced Dianchek, or is it Diansek? Oh,
No, I'm not sure about that one.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, all the members of the THACO, they're all in there, and I love this because even just giving you, just the basics of each deity, that's more than enough.
Right.
Oh, look at that. Sylvanus is in there.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank you, Ed.
Yeah. Yep. It was like between the Celtic, a couple of the Norse that he renamed, and a lot of the Finnish ones. Celtic, Ed had a lot of stuff in there.
Anyway, this is a great book. And what did it retail for at the time?
It retailed for, I believe, there it is. It retailed for $15.
$15. Nowadays, I've seen them as high as 30 in.
Yeah, they're mildly rare.
They're mildly rare and expensive as all the historical ones are. And good luck if you find one with a map in it.
Yeah, oh, that's true. Yeah, they do have a detachable map in it.
I believe, I think I sent one to Corey, had no map in it. I think I just had it printed out the map on the PDF and stuck it in there for him.
Yeah, they're going on eBay right now. Is the cheapest one's $16.67. Buy it now, but it's sight unseen, no picture. The rest of them seem to be in the mid to high 20s.
Yeah,
my 4-year-old took crayons to it and decided to color in the pictures. You'll be fine with that.
Yes.
If the only criticism I have of this book, honestly, and it's really, I don't even know if it's a fair criticism, because when it talks about the character classes that can be used and not used, and it does, by the way, introduce a new character class, a seer, kind of like I guess a minor special wizard, but a seer, which I like. But it doesn't deal with barbarians. But that's because they weren't in the core rules when this book came out. The Barbarians flat book, I think, came out after this.
Right.
So Barbarians hadn't been reintroduced character class into E when this came out, so it's the author's fault. But, I would have liked to see a section talk about barbarians, but.
Well, not to jump the gun here, and you are the history teacher here. I just want to say, by us calling the Celts barbarians, we're going off the opinions and the historical written documents of the English.
Yeah.
By their accounts,
and the Romans.
Barbarians. That's
and
true.
The Romans.
By their accounts, they are not barbarians. They are just warrior poets, or they're farmers with a grudge.
No, that was the Scots.
Not barbarians. They have.
Right.
Those are the Scots. They're the ones who paint their faces blue and bark at the moon. But
Well, and I guess that's exactly what I was trying to say, is that, I think it would have been nice to, if it had a section that talked about, how they, their barbarians weren't your traditional type of what we think of as barbarians.
Yeah.
But again, it
Weren't
came
they
out
the ones
after
that run
this
amok?
You would think.
They work themselves up into a berserker frenzy, take off all their clothes, grab a knife, and just charge to the enemy.
Yes.
Freak the hell out of the enemy.
I mean, if you can, kind of,
Why do you think they didn't wear anything under them kilts?
Yeah. What the Scots warriors killed his shoes.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if you can kind of overlook a little bit of, some of the liberties is taken with history, Braveheart is a good source book. just to give you an idea of
Did
how.
you say Braveheart is a good source book? 'Cause I thought it was a movie.
Source film.
I meant source.
Okay.
Sorry.
Wow, they made a book about Braveheart?
So is The Eagle.
Yeah, The Eagle's another one.
Yes, I
with
love
Channing Tatum. That's actually a really good one. But yeah, I mean,
And you can always go for Antonio Banderas.
What? No, you can't.
13th Warrior.
Well, that
Eater
was
of the Dead.
Yes.
Those are actually Scandinavians, and he was Middle Eastern. But anyways, we digress.
Yeah, we digress. I was just saying, just to give you an idea of kind of what it was like back then, how brutal and nasty it was, and why the Scots more or less had a grudge, you know, because basically English came in and, screwed them. Screwed them out.
Prima nocte!
So yeah, I mean, this is one of the better historical.
I watched Caligula, so that was something the British followed from the Romans. So
I watched that all the time.
It's been around for a while.
Yep. Yeah, we know which part you like, Corey.
Well, yeah, but that's regardless.
I'm not going to mention.
I saw it in the theater when it first came out. That's how old
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, this book came out when I graduated high school, so that tells you something right there.
What, 92?
Yeah, I graduated class of 92.
You and me both.
Nice.
Awesome.
Anyway.
So, yeah.
Well, so look it up, folks. It's a good book. And if you know about it, tell us about it at thacoshammer@gmail.com.
Yeah, tell us how you use it.
And now we go into a new section called DM Brainstorm.
Now you tell me what you know.
Only the infinity of the depths of a man's mind can really tell the story.
What are you, a wizard, a genius?
DM Brainstorm. DM Brainstorm. This is going to be a new section, and since this is Corey's baby, we're going to get him to explain how it works.
All right, so I had a lot of people contact me via Facebook and via OSR Gaming asking me about how I usually start up a campaign and how I come up with the ideas that I'm not running from the modules. So I thought a good idea for all of us here, since everybody on here is a DM, I figured it would be a round-robin, round-table discussion with a bunch of DMs sitting around with a bunch of drinks in their hand, talking about an ideal campaign that they'd want to run, giving each other ideas and feeding off of each other's ideas.
Okay.
And what we would do is we would actually build upon each other's ideas as we kick out an idea and we kick out a fact. Somebody else could run with it and say, hey, that's a good idea. I want to add this to it. And at the end of this section, we should have a campaign that the listeners at home or even other fellow DMs or even any of us might go, that's a damn good idea for a campaign. I'm going to take that and run with it. Maybe I might change this section. Maybe I might change the name of this mayor. But hey, bam, I have a campaign idea that I can run with. Thank you, THACO's Hammer. You gave me an idea.
I got a great idea for a campaign. They gave me a great idea I'll take that and kickstart it.
Oh, that would suck. At least give us credit.
If not a free
yeah, that would kind of suck if somebody did that.
So essentially, everybody here on the show, essentially what I want you to do is put your thinking caps on. What I want to do is just sit around, kick out an idea. No one's going to step on anybody's toes. We could say yay or nay to the idea. Essentially just kick out an idea to help build this campaign as if you were told you're DMing the next DM session. You got to come up with a campaign, and you're asking your buddies at a bar some good ideas to help start this campain.
And I have a few Wild Games Productions liability waivers I want you guys to sign. So.
Yeah, we're making money.
Forget that.
Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
All right, so I'll start it off. We'll start off simple. We're going to start off with a Northern Woods.
And Kojo, you got to help in this too. So.
Heck yeah, that's why he's here. So
Corey,
essentially, what I'm.
Corey, Foggy Hills. That's where
we're at Foggy Hills. My apologies.
Foggy Hills Country Club. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start off in a hilly location. Fog rolling over the hills. Think Scotland. We're going to think Foggy Hills, maybe some moors, something like that. I'll give that idea.
S'mores.
Anybody want to add to
it? Let's see. It's a region that is not heavily patrolled by the local, National Constabulary because they have a tendency to either lose their men by being killed. They're not quite sure what. They walk in, some of them walk out, they're beat to hell, some of them never are seen again. So they're not sure what it is, but they need to find out what's going on.
Boom, DM hook right there.
Yep.
Right.
And,
I see the Foggy Hills as like the edge of civilization here.
Okay, so we're talking edge of civilization. Nice.
Okay.
Fog of War, what?
I'm going to throw a hard edge to that edge of civilization in it and have a chasm rifting the local region that is at its narrowest point maybe 30 yards, at its widest point 300 yards across, and
nice.
near to 1,000 feet deep in places.
Awesome.
Is there a bridge with a troll under it?
If you wish it to be,
there's whatever bridges people can make, maintain, or hold, and some that are just crafted or created. It could be as a tree across or something actually crafted.
This chasm. How deep is it again?
1,000 feet.
1,000 feet is the deepest area, and it ranges from 30 to 300 yards wide. So it could be something that you could have a ranged combat across, and other things are beyond even heavy crossbow range.
Yeah.
I like it.
And at the bottom of the chasm is this giant winding river.
Oh, nice.
With
all right.
Winding, a la something like the Grand Canyon.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to add to this that let's say that there's a town at one end of the chasm and that the nobility actually build their homes on the side of the chasm as far as keeping out of the elements because it is a foggy area. So the town essentially has a sort of caste system where the poorer people are on top, the other people are protected within the chasm.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, I see the fog on the other side of the chasm, the unexplored part, being thicker, and quite often villagers seeing shadowy things lurking on the edge of the fog.
Nice. Okay, cool. We got fog monsters. Awesome.
I'm going to assume trade through here is through a giant bridge near the town that is maintained by who? Anybody? Who owns the bridge? The town? Somebody else? Some other party? Some other power group? Who?
Land. Oh, the dwarves are the ones who actually made the bridge, and because they made the bridge, they have exclusive rights to how the bridge is used, so they start charging tolls for people to come across the bridge either or coming back.
Okay,
right.
that's
I take Kojo, the ambassador bridge. That's where I got that from. Because one guy built the Ambassador Bridge, which is a direct pipeline between Detroit and Windsor, Ontario, Canada, and the state of Michigan has been trying to buy this bridge from this man for decades, and he refuses to sell it to them.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a monopoly.
Exactly. To the point where the state is actually trying to build another bridge further down, further south, and they can't. And there's no way it's going to happen because people aren't.
Well, see, and that could be in this case the competition for the dwarves, right? Maybe you've got some higher level wizard that's kind of in a shack further down the chasm, and he's been levitating people across, sending people across, floating discs and things, kind of undercutting their business. So there's a little bit of a rivalry going on. And who are you going to work for? Are you going to work for the dwarves? Are you going to work for the wizard?
Mm-hmm.
Let's give a reason for the PCs to come here and do some adventuring. Let's go.
Well,
okay. We got townsfolk disappearing, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are also raids coming from the other side of the chasm.
Let me add one more thing to that chasm. Down in the river seems ripe for some kind of barge or ferry across. It also seems ripe for, say, a black market or some other disreputable place.
That's definitely your Skullporty type zone is the people who run the river, the length of the river. Not counting a couple of falls. Got to have falls in a river like that.
Of course.
So they call it the night market because it's under in the chasm and the sunlight doesn't get to.
Right.
Exactly. It's so deep down. Also, oh crap! I just had an idea and it just went right out of my head. Also, there have been raids coming from the other side of the chasm, which is which of course are the borderlands. And, of course, there are various humanoids who have their own ways of getting across the chasm. And the PCs can be hired to find these little ways across, like Full-On said, like 30-yard roughly made bridge or whatever, and they have to forcibly evict these humanoids who are raiding across.
Learn a little bit of engineering. take out the unauthorized crossings.
Oh, no, not even that. Not even take it out. Actually capture it and hold
it. The good ones capture, bad ones take out.
That's true.
True. Mm-hmm. So the dwarves trying to hold on to the monopoly, let's say, because there are so many other ways across. It's just not everyone knows about it. They're trying to find. They hire PCs to destroy the bridge, and there are maybe other interested parties who are trying to make money to go back and forth across the chasm. They're saying, look, we know if you find a bridge held by an orc tribe, drive the orcs out and hold it. If you find a bridge and you are able to hold it, we will give you, some sort of political ranking within the town or the region.
Right. You could also we'll say that there's a neighboring town across the chasm, past through the forest or what have you, that actually their export is lumber to this town in trade for the dwarves to give them iron ore. And because of the raids, the town has not been able to get their lumber to build the home in the chasm or on top of the chasm. The players have been hired to go and open those trade routes up for the town.
There's a characteristic for the bridge, because they're importing lumber, because excavation of a large amount of stone would leave evidence of a big-ass pit. The bridge the dwarf bridge is unique because it is a metal bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Metal and stone.
Iron.
Yeah, metal.
Yes,
iron bridge.
Yes.
That's what it's called, the Iron Bridge.
Nice. There we go. We got a name for it.
Okay. I got one thing. The town on the chasm side is fortified. I mean, there's a town on the other side. Okay, fine. But further down, within shot of the town, giants.
Nice.
Giants throwing rocks.
Nice.
Yes, because they're trying to drive the dwarves out for at least 100 years and can't
not
quite
only
do
that,
it.
but that's a good idea because that could add to after the campaign of freeing the bridge. That gives the higher level characters after that a place to go after that, so they can
take the giants.
Make it a clockwork bridge, a drawbridge.
Yes. Oh, nice drawbridge. They can open it at night to keep the creatures from coming across.
Okay, I got another question. What do the people of that town on the chasm do for their sanitation and refuse?
They drop it down into the ocean.
Chasm.
Down to
the chasm. What's down the chasm? A big garbage heap where certain people go who are scavengers, who are trash pickers, go and find stuff.
Cool. Yeah. I like it. All right.
Honeycombed various stages along the chasm. There's honeycombed caverns built into various altitudes in the walls, some very high, some very low, that have different creatures or cults living within them.
Okay, and also, Port Town is something of a very recent discovery, because within the last 5 years, it was actually discovered there are various natural declines and caves and stairway leading all the way down to basically the riverbank.
I like it.
Nice. Yeah. So there's.
Come on, Coach.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, I'm a sucker for lost civilizations, so I'm thinking, further back in the unexplored regions, there's this, myths and rumors about, this lost culture that came before, and that's a good opportunity for those who don't want to flesh out a whole type of thing. You can drop in piecemeal. Like, you could drop in adventures and say, well, there's where the Tomb of Horrors is. There's where we could take Mr. Nor from Forgotten Realms, or some kind of.
If you wanted to.
What's that?
Yeah, that's
Undermountain.
You can do Undermountain. You could do Ghost Tower of Inverness. A lot of different modules. You could even do Castle Amber if you wanted to go.
Oh, I love you, Coach.
And have that far off in the.
This would be a great.
Once you're done dealing with the. What's that?
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to do this, because it can give newer DMs and fledgling DMs a way to establish a world or establish a local area that their players can be comfortable with, that they can then plug in any other module that's pre-made on the edge of this and go, blam, it's here, blam, it's here, blam, it's here.
Yep.
The reason that this place being a big misty shrouded forest, and part of the reason there's a big rift down the middle of it, is that all the local woods, especially on the wilderness, unexplored side of it are petrified woods. They're not woods. They are stone woods.
And that's what the bridge is made out of.
No, it's still made out of the metal.
No, I know the metal and petrified wood.
Yeah. Right, because essentially the townsfolk couldn't go and cut their own lumber because the wood closest to them is petrified, so they have to trade with the other town that actually has the natural wood on their end of the forest. That's nice. I like this.
Don't you think the dwarves that mined this ore to make the bridge and all this other stuff would also know how to work that wood?
Oh, of course. Essentially, if they had long enough to work with it.
You know what? Because petrified wood is more or less wood that's more or less turned to stone over thousands of years.
Right.
Millions
of years. It is fossils of trees. It's it's stone. Right. Or if you've had like a volcanic incident or a seismic incident that causes such a rift like this, it would be, possibly flash fried in the pyroclastic cloud or whatever. So it is stone.
And also the petrified wood is, even though the dwarves, this is a secret, that the dwarves do not want to get out, the petrified wood is actually, is almost essential in their crafting of masterwork items and also magical items.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
We need a forge made of the petrified wood for the forest, and the players need to realize that they need to free that section of the forest from the raiding orcs or what have you, because in order for these dwarves to continue making the items for the players or for the townsfolk, they need that forest freed up. They can't get to the forest because of the raids of the monsters.
And
so boom, hire them PCs to free up the forest.
Then, overarching all of this is, what's the reason for the fog? There is someone who is
God's fart?
No, God, that would be nasty. No, there is a presence, not a presence, but there is a being. He could be a mage, he could be a cleric, he could be whatever. But he's the one who benefits the most by playing both sides against each other.
Okay, cool, I like it.
Yeah, he's the Emperor Palpatine who's getting, who's basically trying to keep the dwarves from rising too high, trying to keep the civilization across the chasm from expanding or at least elevating themselves, because at some point they may find out who's behind some of these mysterious goings on, and it might just be the meanings of X.
I'm going to go with Druid Dragon, red, type 1 each.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Living in a volcanic environment that I'm going to send you a picture of in just a second.
Now, what about steam dragons?
Wait a minute, what?
Isn't there is a fog dragon.
There is a dragon that breathes steam or fog or something like that.
Yeah.
There's fog giants.
And there's an ancient one that has a great big lair, and he produces a lot of it.
Cthulhu.
No. Yeah, right.
You say Cthulhu?
Yes, he did.
On a side note, I've been really sitting here thinking about the visual of the fog, and now you got petrified trees, and I can kind of see this moonlit fog kind of rolling through these petrified trees, gets to the chasm, and kind of goes over the edge, kind of like dry ice fog, kind of goes down in just like a blanket of fog. And then it at times it kind of clears up enough that people can kind of see and on the other side a little more, and it's a cool visual. I really like that.
Oh yeah, I like that too.
At some point or place in the uncivilized region, there is a more actively volcanic location that is the host of this entity.
Yes.
Nice picture.
And
nice.
That's the picture I sent you guys.
Okay.
All right. Hell, you know what? They could use Brian's idea for the caves to actually find that at the bottom of the chasm going through the caverns. That could be where the steam's coming up and the heat, which is causing the cold air to hit the ground, which is hotter, causing the fog.
And it keeps...
What's the agriculture export of the quasi-civilized side of the chasm?
I would say peat. Peat for whiskey, peat for heat. They could use it as a heat source.
More type peat bog type thing?
Yeah, I'm thinking of the Celtic idea that we've been running with this whole show theme. We could do the whole peat bog, it could be a peaty area.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
Yep. Yeah, there are mist dragons.
Yep.
Yes, there are. Let's see. Okay. Then go ahead.
We have the chasm, we have the town, we have the fog, we have the hills. We have the dwarves too, who work underneath the town.
Some of them do. The ruling class do not.
Okay.
Yeah, the ruling class just live on the edge of the cavern.
Do they have like their dwarven city on the other side of the chasm? Maybe like a la from
I would think they would
Moria,
live on the surface.
a la Moria with that big wall that's one side of the chasm near the river.
Yeah. No, the one side of the chasm they occupy, that would be sort of like Moria. It goes down past the river. It goes actually into the earth on their side and down and further down. That's where the iron ore they mine comes from.
Okay.
Nice.
On the other side is, shall we say, a failed experiment. As in, they found some sort of metal that they could work and craft. That reportedly it's better than even adamantite, but it's deadly to dwarves.
Okay.
And they don't know what to do about it. They were forced to move to the other side of the chasm, other side of the river, and that's where they started. That's where they found something. That's what I mean.
So
it
could have underdark type radiations that effectively harm dwarves. Essentially, they're bad radiations. Okay, I got you. I'm with you.
And if it's harmful, if it's harmful to dwarves, it's almost deadly to any other race.
Okay, I like it. This is cool.
Yeah, that's like it gives dwarves cancer, but it almost kills humans instantly.
Right, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me talk about the town for a minute.
Okay.
This town is known for it, since they have dwarves near them, and other people who are learned. It is known for their engineering skills. It is
building homes on the side of a chasm. They should have high engineering. Yeah,
high engineering skills and a lot of inventors.
Sure. Okay.
I'm
digging it.
Are you about to put Tinker Gnomes in, Glenn?
Now that you put it in my head, yeah. It's like I wasn't really thinking of a race, but I was thinking like I got the image of these guys who are inventors who all want to learn to non-magically fly, who like to go out and test their stuff by jumping into the chasm with their latest thing on their back.
Yeah.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, think about that as a side quest for the PCs. You could be like, hey, listen, if you're going down into the caves to investigate level 3 adventurers, do me a favor. The inventor / archmage Archibald Barisal has decided he wanted to make a set of flying wings. He failed and fell. Well, actually, he didn't fall. His apprentice did. Could you do us a favor and retrieve those wings at the bottom of the chasm? Oh, they hit the river and they traveled through the chasm underneath an underwater river.
Nice.
Can you do me a favor, transverse that, and find that for us? Boom. You have a quest for the PCs to do on the side.
And there's also like learned men who like to study the mist.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and you want to know what? Those are the ones that are disappearing. Yeah, those are the ones that are disappearing more than almost any other kind of person.
They have alchemists who think alchemists who think this is a clue of turning lead into gold, this mist. And they
could do that as well. Yeah. Hey, not everybody's right at their assumptions. You're right.
Yes. And it may. Who knows? I mean, there could be magic in that mist. Who knows? I think the mist.
Well, I think
there's definite it's definite magic because it's created by Mr. X.
Yeah.
It's some sort of artifact. It's some sort of item that helps him to create it.
It's fun. It's funny. I'm thinking about in my campaign world, I have a town called Opak, which is right near a lake. Now this lake has a magical jewel stuck in it at the neck of the lake, which makes all the water healing water.
Okay.
Lake.
Entire lake that heals. All right.
I'm thinking of maybe the mist has a property like that nobody's discovered yet.
Well, I would say that it wouldn't be permanent because you would have everybody living near that mist. But I would definitely say
not necessarily
a harvest.
You have what?
Not
maybe the mist is a spell component for some spell that somebody wants to create.
Kojo,
right, cool.
you're thinking like that. You're on the same track, Kojo. Yeah.
Wow, this is a great idea for a new section because you guys are running with this thing.
Hey, this is what I'm actually good at.
I know, that's why I thought it was a good idea.
I'm good at taking it and running to here with it.
I know, and that is because I know between the four brains of us and now with Kojo, we should come up with a campaign that all the listeners would be like, hey, I'm stealing that idea. That's an awesome idea. It's going in my world, and that's what I wanted. I think we got a pretty much a good first session here with this.
I've even named the town.
All right.
Dip.
Well, I was going to go with Miss Drop, but that's fine. Dip.
Yeah, dip. You dip in there and fall in the cavern. That's another hazard. I'm glad they have the walls up there because people have been wandering like off the edge on misty nights.
Nice.
And it's a convenient way for the local Thieves and Assassins Guild to get rid of unwanted bodies.
Exactly.
And
or nobles.
Exactly.
Or nobles.
Or nobles. Sure.
Yep. Yes.
For sure.
Well,
the PCs have been hired as investigators. Go ahead, Kojo.
And assassinations you are taken to the middle of the bridge and thrown off.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Execution.
No poison involved.
Hung by the bridge, or if they like you, you're hung by the bridge. If you're not liked, they simply chuck you.
Man, Crow Cage is hanging off the bridge for prisoners and criminals.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. I just thought of the perfect module to drop in. You gotta go with Zeb Cook's masterpiece, Dwellers of the Forbidden City.
Dwellers of the Forbidden City. You were
Stick
right.
that one way out in the mist.
Awesome. I like that idea.
When you get tired of exploring around the chasm and all the politics of that, you go off and try to find the lost civilization. There's your Forbidden City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People who are sentenced to just jail time get hung in cages on the city side of the bridge. People who are sentenced to death get put in cages on the other side of the bridge.
Nice.
Yep, so they could get eaten.
Well, all right. Cool. I think we got a good session here for the first one.
We got a winner.
We got a winner here. I like this session.
I'm getting to think, I don't know if this show can hold this section. This may end up its own podcast.
Hey, if we can do that for say like an hour straight, where we come up with where we take a concept of a region and just move out. If we just do it that way, why not?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why I wanted to do this. I figured with enough of our brains.
All right, well, it's all up to you guys out there. You have to tell us about it at THACOshammer@gmail.com.
Yeah, tell us if we're doing okay.
Even if you can even call us.
Mm-hmm.
The phone number for THACO's Hammer is 405-806-0555.
Thank you. Here's a treat. And and it's really overtime to close this splat book.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't start. This time we didn't start. The second round we didn't start till like 9:30.
1 hour email section. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
But it happens. So say goodnight, Full-On.
Good night, Gamer Nation. I hope we have inspired you to game well.
Brian?
And if it gets foggy out, don't go wandering because you might just take the wrong step and it's a doozy.
Yeah. Corey?
Good night, gamer folks. Listening to THACO's Hammer and all you Hammerites. We got Kojo with us, and this year, 2014, is Year of the Gamer.
Oh, yeah. And Mr. Kojo, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, I just want to encourage everybody to write or call in, because if you don't, I will.
Don't forget to look at lesserknown.com. And, do be careful. Otherwise, the boys are going to take you for a walk on the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the meantime, this is DM Glenn saying we'll see you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer. Bye-bye. Oh, this is so juicy, this whole setup here. We're just going to if this does spin off, we're just going to have to keep on going from the cast.
Dude, I totally agree. This is a good section. I think with all of us playing this,
THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at THACOshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at THACOshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the second edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.